Breaking today, President Trump taking a call with the United Kingdom's new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. A Downing Street spokesperson says they spoke about the World Cup and the conflict in the Middle East. The new Prime Minister also talked to President Trump about his vision to rebuild the UK, which critics say would move the country to the far left.
We will make this moment a circuit breaker for Britain, bringing forward the biggest changes in the last 40 years. A new political model and a new economic model.
Sir Christian Turner is the British ambassador to the U.S. and joins us now. Ambassador, welcome to you. Good to have you on the program. So how far left is this person looking to take the U.K.?
Well, Sandra, it's great to be with you. And I think what is striking, first of all, is that call happened very much as almost the first action that Prime Minister Burnham took in Downing Street. I don't think he'd been in barely an hour when the two leaders had a good call. And I think there is an agenda here that has a degree of commonality. Prime Minister Burnham is talking about reigniting economic growth, about reindustrializing communities in left-behind parts of the UK, about British jobs for British people, about sovereign UK strength. These are all things that we've been discussing in the relationship and trying to build, given that those deep and close economic ties between us. But the way I've described that agenda, you can see, I think that's a framing that would resonate with many politicians on this side of the Atlantic, supporting those communities, working class people who want jobs and growth. So I think there's a strong basis for us to build on together.
You know, while taking aim at Margaret Thatcher's economic legacy, these are the leftist policy proposal that he put out there and that seemed to be popular. Public control of utilities, expanding government-run housing. He supports universal social care system. Hasn't ruled out a wealth tax. He's promised compassionate immigration system. Is not expected to issue new oil and gas licenses. I mean, is this what is working for the people of the UK? We asked that question and asked for reaction to Burnham becoming the Prime Minister. Here's what some of the people said.
I'm hoping that maybe I did hear that Andy Burnham might maybe bring us back into Europe, so you never know. That would be a good thing for the country, I think.
A lot of issues need focus on, in particular, the sort of like healthcare system, the immigration issues.
Yeah, he's definitely in the populist side of politics, albeit on the left, so that's slightly unusual. I'm 50-50, really, in terms of whether he was going to be an effective PM or not.
Ambassador, what are you hearing?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get ahead of the policies that will be announced in the coming days, Sandra, but what is clear is that focus on economic growth. As Mayor of Manchester, Mr. Burnham has overseen growth that has been double the UK average. It's about 3% since 2015. That's a strong record of investing in infrastructure and of creating those jobs. I should also note he said just last week in writing that our relationship will remain, that's the UK-US relationship, will remain critical as our most important defense and security partner. He's appointed former Defense Secretary John Healey as his Chancellor, a man with a strong economic grounding, and signaled that he will be pragmatic on those defense issues. We have just raised our defense spend by over $393 billion over the next 4 years. And I think also hints of pragmatism on things like North Sea energy, where we know we're going to need to see lower energy costs if we're going to grow our economy. So as I say, I think let's see what comes, but this is an agenda that I think we can work on. He's also a politician who's signaling that he wants to do politics a bit differently. He wants to engage with people, reach out directly. So I think strong areas to come.
Ambassador, thank you for that. Before you go, I'd like to ask you about the Iran war. How much fear is there that this situation is escalating?
Well, look, we've got to work together on this. It's absolutely clear that we cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon and that we need the Straits of Hormuz open. Wherever you get our oil, actually, we don't get a lot of oil from the Gulf in the UK, less than 10% of our supplies, but it's a global commodity. So we need to work together on that. We have got demining capability ready, British demining ships ready in the Gulf to support the US. We want to help the US get back to negotiations. And I respect what President President Trump is trying to do here. He's trying to use the pressure. What the Iranians are doing is absolutely unacceptable. So let's get this back to negotiations and really focus on preventing Iran getting a nuclear weapon.
Ambassador, I appreciate you coming on the show today. We do hope you'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right, Jillian.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.